Hi, this is Randall Hague for Folie Douce West Island. Welcome to our show. In a few moments, we'll hear from Joel McCuaig on the history of mental health housing. It will be followed by an interview by Joel of Chantal d'Entremont, who is residential coordinator at Omega Apartments and Group Home. And in the second part of the show will be an interview by Michael Miller of Diane Veuhoff, a community worker at West Island Citizen Advocacy. Then the last segment will be a roundtable discussion on mental health housing, hosted by Patrick Merrigan with Joel, Mike, and myself. Stay with us. We have a wonderful show coming up. Stay tuned.
You're tuned to Folie Douce West Island, a show whose goal is to change negative perceptions of the world of mental health.
Hello, and this is Joel McCuaig bringing you another segment of Mental Health in History. Today's topic, housing. So I thought I'd start with a quote, first of all, from the Canadian Mental Health Institution, and it defines home as the base from which we have security to build our lives as we choose, which is very true. It works nowadays, but back in the 1950s up to the mid-1980s, unfortunately, you had three choices. You lived in an institution, you lived with family members, or you were homeless. But in the mid-1980s, the deinstitutionalization movement began with organizations such as West Island Citizen Advocacy, and Omega started housing programs. WICA started the Ile des Amis, Farley House and Herring House, plus Cap Church apartment program. And Omega also started their group home and the Omega Apartments. This is allowing people to be able to live on their own, learn how to live on their own, and to be able to support themselves and live a quote-unquote normal life, which is defined by each individual. Along with that, we'll go into a little more detail. Let's start with the group home. The group home, as Omega has it, is, and most are, is it's a communal house. Each participant has a bedroom. Everything else is communal, the kitchen and everything else. They learn skills and whatnot so that in a 2 to 3 year period, they are ready to move out, because group homes are transitional. They're never permanent. And then you'd have other organizations such as the newly built Centre Bienvenue building, where theirs is also transition, but instead of 2 to 3 years, it's 6 years. So it's to learn the skills and whatnot so you can live on your own and whatnot. Then there's the WICA apartments and the Omega apartments, which is long-term to indefinite. And that's for those of us that need to stay, need to have that support there, but still want to live independently, but have that support there when they need it. So basically what these organizations are trying to do is there are different people that are in different paths of life. Some need more help, some need less help, some need help with socialization, some need help with everyday coping skills and stuff like that. And so that's the state of housing for mental health nowadays. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Joel McCuaig, and I'm here today with Chantal. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you, Joel.
She is the residential coordinator for Omega, for the group home and the apartments, which is one of the reasons that we're talking to her today. Besides that, she has worked at numerous different places, Community Perspective, the Crisis Center, and others that she'll tell you about in a little while. The first question that I'd have is, What exactly are the differences and the similarities between coordinating the group home and the apartments?
Well, at the group home, it's really a home where we have 8 rooms. There's 24 hours of supervision, and the client needs are quite different than the needs at the apartments. Mm-hmm. The apartments, everyone manages their own home, their own groceries, so it's very different, the work that we do with the clients.
Okay, and we'd also like to know, doing that and comparing that to the other jobs you've done, I'm sure all of them were gratifying in their own way, but because Lord knows not doing it for the money, because you don't get paid much in non-for-profit, which I'd have to say thank you for doing the job anyway, because we needed it, and it's great around here. But I'd like to know what your views are from the crisis center and here and PC, because PC you're working one-on-one with clients. Mm-hmm. Here you're working with many clients, and then at the crisis center you're seeing people when they're in a crisis.
Yep.
So
all of those jobs have been very different for me, the clienteles that we see. And I think the crisis center was very different in that we see people who are otherwise very well that have unfortunately lived through something that brings them to us for help. The other places that I've worked was really geared and focused on mental illness. And I guess some of the clients go from one place to the next. I know some people followed from PC, they live at the apartments and so on. So there's a big overlap. But the service that we offer try to complement each point of service in each organization, I guess, so that we're doing different things and can offer a wide range of services to the clients. Okay.
And going off of that, I'd like to know your view of how you think mental health and the mental health community nowadays is going. I know it still has a ways to go, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes over the time that you've worked in the different places. Mm-hmm. But where do you generally stand on how the services are being presented and used by the clients?
I think once you get into the system, the services kind of appear until the point where you actually are taken over by someone, whether it's the hospital or your doctor. It's sometimes very hard to find services. So definitely having the names out there, the different organizations do this kind of things like this radio show and advertising a lot more. So I think we are doing better in that respect. People are getting out there more and talking more about mental illness, about what's available to help them. Having worked at Friends for Mental Health, I can say that families need help and they need advocacy as well. So I think in the future, moving forward, we need to accept that mental illness is part of our society and that basically we are just like everyone else, and that we can all work together towards getting better and having a satisfying life.
Okay. So having said that, and as I mentioned earlier, you certainly don't do the job for the fancy-dancy paycheck. So what motivates you to come and do this work every day? Because I know you don't exactly live close to these places. It's quite a travel for you in and out, but you do it every day.
When I first started, I was living in Montreal, so the travel wasn't so bad. And I think you get attached to the community, you get attached to the people you work with. So that's why I do come in every day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, to do what I do. I really love the people that I work with, and I really love what I do. It's people just like me, just like you, that need a little bit of support, and we're there to offer that. I really like being able to sit down with someone and make them feel better and share what they're going through.
Oh, well, and that's great. You've done that for me numerous times in the past. The crisis center, because we haven't. I'd like to know what it's like handling that. Someone comes with the crisis and whatnot, because we haven't really brought that up in any of our interviews. And since you do have experience in that, mm-hmm. I think it would be nice for the listeners to hear, how that proceeds. Because there's some people that, the crisis center, you know what I mean? They don't know if they want to go there or whatnot. So, mm-hmm. If they have a little bit of an insight on somewhat of what to expect.
Yeah, well, for the crisis center, the gateway is definitely the phone line. There's someone available there to take phone calls 24 hours a day. And the staff is available to move around and go meet people. Like I said, we have people like anyone you might meet that needs help because they're living through something specific. They do serve the mental health community as well when someone's either decompensating. And we also see a lot of people that might have a first episode that doesn't know what they're going through come and see us. So at the Crisis Center, we've got a good connection, I would say, with the hospital as well. And we really do see a wide range of people. And we offer, well, they offer at this point, a wide range of services. So give them a call and they'll help you with whatever your needs might be.
Okay, so for everyone that was listening, you heard her. If you don't be shy, if you need to use the Crisis Center, please go ahead and do so. At this point, is there anything that you would like the mental health community to know? Any personal thoughts that you have on the day-to-day life here, maybe whatever you'd like to talk about?
Well, I think in general, what we do as workers is something that we don't even think about. We don't blink when we see someone that's in need. We really take our time with them and we support them. And on the other side of that, we see them in the community. We know where they live, we know where they shop, and they really are just like anyone else in the community. And they've had normal lives, probably right up to the point where they did become symptomatic. So I think sometimes we forget that it could have been anyone. And no one asks to get this, and unfortunately it's something that they're stuck living with for a very long time. So to just really remember, these people are you and me, and they're great people.
Yeah, that's a good point, that we are not our illness. Illness is something we have. It's not a label that we wear. So in closing, I would like to thank you for your dedicated service over the years and continued service that you're doing here, making my life and many other people's lives a pleasure to live and helping us out when we need it.
Thank you, Joel. It's my pleasure being here.
Hi, my name is Michael Miller, and my guest today is Diane Veuhoff, community worker at West Island Citizen Advocacy. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here.
Great. Glad to have you. Could you give us a quick overview and history of the housing, the care, CAP, and Ile des Amis programs at WICA?
Okay, the program is called the CAP program, which stands for Church Apartment Program. And it was founded in 1986 by Mrs. Joanne Farley, who started West Island Citizen Advocacy. She realized that there was a need for supportive housing on the West Island for individuals with a mental health illness, because she did have a son that had special needs. So the program houses 44 individuals throughout the West Island and Dorval. We have 6 community apartments, which houses 3 gentlemen in each apartment. And then we also have 2 government-subsidized buildings, which is Ile des Amis, which has single and double apartments.
Great. And what kind of support do you offer clients?
Well, that varies. Depends on each individual's needs. We offer support in regards to doctor's appointments, welfare, paperwork. It could just be a one-on-one special needs where a resident just wants to talk. Mm-hmm. Or we also offer grocery shopping, doctor's lifts on occasion, cleaning assistance if required, or just general friendship.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I have to say I live there, and it's a great place to live. We also get food once a month. We've gone on trips, and there's lots of great stuff. We went to Ottawa, we went downtown, so it's great. So could you tell me some of the challenges and rewards, starting with the challenges of the job?
Okay, challenges. Challenges vary depending on the maturity of the worker, let's say. When I started 8 years ago, my biggest challenge that I found was keeping work at work. It took me about a 3-year period not to bring my work home, to worry about the residents at home. Being a mother myself, of 2 wonderful grown men at the moment, I would worry about the residents at home as if like a mother image. Yeah. So it took me 3 years to disconnect from there Now work stays at work. The challenge now is really maintaining your hours, because every day you walk into work and you don't know what your day is consisting of. You do have scheduled meetings with residents, but although sometimes, you're going to get a call from a resident who's decompensated, you need to follow up with them, you need to call a psychiatrist, or you need to go to the crisis center with somebody, or somebody's out of food, you have to go to the food bank. You never really know. So a daily challenge is just coping with what you what
coping
comes
with
up.
Someone might not be well, or what, and you have a need. Yeah,
That's right.
and it sounds great. I remember that I always felt that you gave your full heart to this job. I mean, that's why originally I think you were saying you had you felt like the mother to us, and I always felt like you really were MPK, as they say in French, really involved in us. But what would be the rewards of the job?
Oh, the rewards are the smiles. Just knowing that you make a difference in an individual's life on a daily basis is, I have goose pimples as I'm saying it. It is, you are a person to people. You are almost a family member to some people. You're not just a number going in, sitting behind the computer every day. It is knowing that you are making a difference.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Yeah. It's, I know one thing that helps also is a lot of the residents benefit because they're subsidized. Some of the apartments are subsidized.
That's right.
And some would be, I guess, lower rent because everyone's sharing. There's I used to live in a cap apartment where there were 3 of us.
That's right.
So we would share all the bills, and we would share the rent. And so it would not be very expensive for that reason, I guess. And then, and where I live now, Ile des Amis, right? It's 25%, right?
Ile des Amis is 25%. That's right. It's government subsidized.
Yeah. So, so that's really great. And what about the future projects of the CAP program?
We don't have any funding in regards to opening up new apartments or building a new building, let's say. We do have future activities planned. We are hoping to do another spring trip to possibly a museum in Montreal. I know that was very successful a couple of years ago. Also, as you mentioned, the Ottawa trip was absolutely fabulous.
Yeah,
we actually had
great.
a coach bus, and we spent the day down there. And we, the day before, myself and a few residents, we made some lunches together. So we each had a lunch bag. So we do have activities planned. As I said, we look at our program, the apartment program, as it's we are a big family. So we do ask the residents what their needs are, what their interests are, and we try and accommodate, what they'd like to see, what they'd like to do.
Yeah, I went on a few of these trips. Like the one to Ottawa, we saw the Parliament buildings.
Yep.
We pulled up right in front. We saw the Centennial Flame, which I saw in the Amazing Race they were featuring, and we went downtown. We've done all kinds of things and gone to Cap Saint Jacques years ago. That was a great event.
We've even done. Do you remember we were at a church for Thanksgiving a couple of years ago?
Oh yes.
We had I think we had most of our residents there. We had I think we cooked 2 or 3 turkeys, and we made mashed potatoes. We played bingo, I believe.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I won a hat or something.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we had another one that was like for St. Patrick's Day or for Easter or something.
I think it was St. Patty's Day because everything was green.
Yeah.
We made green punch and things.
Green punch, yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So there's perhaps more trips in the future. Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, we did go to the museum. What did we see at the museum? I don't remember, but it was really good.
Oh, it was the Beatles, the John Lennon.
Oh, the John Lennon. Okay, yeah. And I went to another one that was I forget what it was, but it was really good.
Yeah.
And so just to close off, how can we find out about these programs?
About the apartment program?
Yeah, is there a phone number or is there a website you can check out?
Yep. You call West Island Citizen Advocacy. We are located in Point Claire. Our phone number is 514-694-5850, and just ask for one of the apartment workers at the time. And we also have a website, which is www.volunteerwicca.com. And you can click on the link there, which is the Church Apartment Program, and look up the information. the individual would have to come in, fill out an application. There is a waiting list to get into our program. But when we do, on occasion, we do have an opening, and we will call the individuals that we think would fit into that particular apartment. We don't match individuals that, a smoker with a non-smoker, et cetera, et cetera. And we just go from there.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a waiting list, but I can vouch for it. It's a great program. I mean, it really is like where I live. There's Heron and Farley side by side, and it's really, Ile des Amis is really true. It really is, we're all friends. We get along. We see each other.
Well, we just finished our big family barbecue. We do have a lot of volunteers. I forgot to mention that. And we invite the parents of our residents and the residents. There's about 85 to 100 people, and we have a big barbecue. At that time, it's a chance for other parents to meet other parents of residents in the program, and residents from Dorval to talk with residents from Heron and Farley. And
that was a great event. Yeah. So thank you very much, Diane, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Michael.
You're listening to Folie Douce West Island, providing valuable information on the world of mental health.
My name is Patrick Merrigan. You are now listening to Folie Douce West Island, and for the next couple of minutes, I will be your host. And we're going to have a round table with my friends of l'équipe Folie Douce West Island. We have Joel. How are you, Joel?
Good.
We have Randy. Hi, Randy.
Hi, Pat.
And we have Michael.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, Michael. Guys, we're talking today about housing. We know it's one of the most important things in life to have a good home. And what's interesting with you three guys is that you're all living in different settings. Joe, if you would like to start off and explaining to our listeners in what type of setting you are living in.
Okay, I live in a special needs building. It's called the Residence Omega. As such, I have what's called subsidized rent. So I pay, I think it's 25% of the total rent. So in my case, my total rent is normally would be between $700 and $800. So I pay just over $300. So just so you guys know exactly how much that reduces it. I live by myself. It means with the reduced rent that I have a little more leeway with my money. So yeah, that's what I live under.
I think it's quite different with Randy.
Yeah, I have no subsidies. I live in a 1.5, and I pay all the bills. I pay $565 a month, and I collect welfare, and I still make it.
And Michael, I think you are living also in. You're different than Joel, though, but.
I live in subsidized as well. Yeah, I pay 25%. I think it's of my income that I pay, plus a couple of services. But yes, I'm in Ile des Amis in the Heron House building.
Okay.
And I have a roommate as well. That's one situation that's different. These guys both live alone, and I have a roommate. So that's fun getting along. We get along very well, and the other thing is, like, it's called Ile des Amis, and a lot of us are friends, and that's one of the things I like about it. Yeah.
Obviously, guys, actually Joel is living in a setting that perhaps you guys would also like to be living in. Is that a good statement?
No, I'm happy with.
You're doing okay, Randy?
Yeah, I'm happy in the setting that I'm in.
Okay, but if it would be subsidized for you, I guess that you would it'd be easier for you.
Money-wise,
right?
Yeah, money-wise, it'd be easier, but on the other hand, I wouldn't have the freedoms that I have, being in an apartment that I pay full price for.
Right.
There are restrictions as far as what they have,
So you like the liberty of...
Yeah, I like the liberty of being able to be my own person and have no restraints that somebody can tell me at any time that, unfortunately, we don't like the way you're acting.
Right.
And you're gone,
So it'd be more of a challenge for you living in a setting.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
I guess, Joel.
I wouldn't want to be in that setting. That's my,
Yeah, that's your opinion.
that's my opinion.
right. Michael, do you agree with that too, or would you like to be living in a more setting with perhaps maybe a bit more, I wouldn't say rules or policies, but how do you feel about
where
that?
I live is they pretty much let us do our own thing.
Okay.
They do have some supervision, and they in the past sometimes they would they still do monitor our cleaning and stuff like that to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to do it ourselves as much as we can.
Right.
And so I find it's a bit of a balance between independent living and a bit of supervision. But I find it's helpful, like, if we, like, there's certain things they help us with, like, let's say doing our taxes. There's groups next door, like an art group next door. Sometimes community kitchens, stuff like that is fun to do.
Right. So that's I would say it's the good side of living in a setting like this, because there's a lot, like Joel, perhaps you would have, there's a lot of activities going on, and you feel maybe a little less isolated.
We have a lot of activities going on. The one thing I feel that, I know that Randy doesn't understand the dynamic, but we're a family in our building. We operate and function as a family. We look out for each other. That's what makes our building really unique, is that we can do that. Now, I understand wanting to live by himself, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. For me, I like having the family dynamic. I'm a social person. I like to have activities to go to. I like to have people I can talk to. I've got some friends in the building I go and see, have coffee with, and whatnot. The dynamic in the building is different than a regular apartment building, where most people generally keep to themselves. And, it's just, hi in the hall and whatnot. This is, everybody knows everybody. And when you're dealing with mental health, that helps, at least for me. I'm not saying for everybody, but for me, it helps my overall well-being and my mental health well-being to be in an environment that is conducive to being happy, having stuff to do, to not being negative, and that kind of stuff. And the other thing we get is that we all take medication. And our medication, some people have to go to the office and take their medication in front of the workers all the time. Myself, I take it in front of them in the morning. For me, it was a personal choice. I used to take all my pills to my apartment, but I would forget to take my meds. So it was easier that it was in the office, and then I go for my nighttime meds, the act of going from the office, or from my apartment to the office, getting the pills. That act there is a huge reminder that I've got to take them.
So you get a lot of support, Joel, at the residence.
Exactly.
Right. We have a few minutes, guys, to go. Interesting discussion, by the way. Thank you for your participation. What would be the ideal? It's a big question. You got about 5 seconds to think about it. But what would be the ideal home for you guys? I don't know, Michael?
Me, an ideal home,
Yep.
to be honest, would be perhaps somewhere in the countryside where there was maybe less people around.
Yes.
Where my building is, there's a lot of buildings around, which is okay. I like being near people. I wouldn't want to be like in the middle of nowhere. But being in a place a little bit in the country, maybe near a lake, something like that.
Very nice.
And with people around also. I don't want to be isolated.
Because that's true, Michael. It's important what you're saying, and our listeners have to know this. You're all living in the city,
Yeah.
right? So what you're saying, do you agree with this?
Well,
Randy, living a bit outside the big city?
I had a house in the country, what Mike is talking about, and it was ideal. The only thing is I would never have met you guys had I have stayed up there.
That is true.
So, but it's nice to have, a house on the mountain, and you get up in the morning, you're able to walk, hear the birds sing and chirp, and it's a nice feeling. But at the same time, you're somewhat isolated to, that's the problem.
If you had a choice, would you go
If
back?
I had a choice, I would rather be up north,
Yes.
but with the same type of people.
Right. Same
So
same services too.
Same
also?
services
Yeah.
up north would be ideal.
Because up north the services
Are limited,
limited, eh?
very limited.
Joel, your ideal place. Do you agree with Randy and Michael about maybe perhaps being outside the big city?
Yeah, I've thought about that. But as nice as the country is, I, again, am very social. So I like being around people. I like being around stuff that's going on. So I wouldn't want to be living downtown because I would be too busy. But where we're living now is just busy enough for me. So I'm happy where I am right now, to be honest. I like where I live. I plan to stay there as long as I can.
Guys, I just have the time to thank you very much for very interesting discussions, and perhaps we'll have a chance to continue next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
We have come to the end of our show. Thank you, Joel McCuaig.
You're welcome. I'd like to thank Chantal, the housing director for the Omega Apartments and the group home, for doing the interview.
Thank you, Michael Miller.
Yes, I'd like to thank Diane Veuhoff, the community worker at West Island Citizen Advocacy, for her interview.
And thank you, Patrick Merrigan.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you guys for sharing your opinions. Thanks, it was a pleasure.
And thank you, Yvan Bujold, for producing the show.
Thanks, everyone.
Hope to see you next time, and thanks for tuning in.